going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So we are going to be working on our Dodge Challenger SRT8. So if you're brand new to the channel, we picked this thing up from auction for $6,000. It's got a clean title, 50,000 miles, and it's in pretty good shape, with the exception that the engine was absolutely toast. So this is actually the old one. In one of our recent videos, we got this swapped out. Got a replacement 6.1 in there. It is running phenomenal. So now that we got it driving, we can get to more of the fun stuff. So in today's video, we're going to be installing the full wide body kit. So you guys can go head on over to our website, atlanticbeachcustoms.com. Go get entered into the giveaway. Every purchase you make will get you entered in to win both of these cars. So every digital photo you buy will get you one entry into the Charger and one entry into the Challenger, and every $5 you spend in merch will get you one entry into both cars as well. You know, it'll be super cool. This thing's gonna look like a brand new wide body Hellcat, but at its heart, it is a 6-speed, 6.1 liter. We're gonna be doing a complete interior transformation as well. As some of you might have seen from our last video, we just got the carbon fiber steering wheel installed. So we've got a lot of stuff in store for this. Guys, we got the wide body wheels back. So we already got the front two on, and take a look at how good these things look. I came across a deal of these that I could not pass up, so we got them brand new. These are 20 by 11s with a 0 offset. So there's a look at the amount of poke we've got versus the factory one, which sits in. So there's the difference right there. You can see these rear wheels are tucked inside a little bit, and those have a little bit of poke, nothing too crazy. And then I just went with the factory wide body tire size. So these are 305, 35, 20s. So once again, it is a 20 by 11 wheel, 0 offset with 305, 35, 20 tires. So what I'm gonna do right now is actually start this thing up, and I'm gonna see if we've got a full turning radius, see if it hits on anything. Because yeah, that's the real moment of truth, to see if these things will actually work without, you know, any kind of modifications. So I guess we'll find out right now. Okay, so I honestly think we're good. Right now, the tire is just barely hitting this fender liner, but that's because the front bumper's not on. So once we get the front bumper on and we get all of these clips back in, they'll probably be about right there. And so we are at pretty much a full turn, and we've got, you know, 2 inches of clearance. So I think these things will work. So I'm gonna work on fitting those back 2 wheels up. But yeah, that's a full turn right there. So I think that we'll be good. All right, so something else I forgot to do is I'm going to install some new valve stem caps. So you can go pick these up on our website, $5 for a set of 4. So these are something small that make a really big difference with your car, and you will earn 1 entry into the Challenger and the Charger with every order. So once again, these are $5 on our website. So go pick a set of these up for your car, and you will get an entry and to win both of these. So here's a look at the factory ones. These are just the original plastics. You know, these are nothing flattering. So we're gonna be swapping these ones out with our nice black anodized ones. All right, you guys, I'll show you the progress we've made on the front bumper. So this thing is quite a pain. You know, it is just these plastic pieces. We could not get this middle insert piece to fit up properly. So it's this piece right here. The clips just were not working, so what we ended up doing was we ran a thin layer of caulk on the inside right here, and then also right here as well. So you won't even see this once it's wrapped and everything. And it is a super, super thin line. You know, Jared, my dad, used to be a painter, so he's a wizard with this stuff. You know, did a super good job with that. So it's not even gonna be noticeable by the time it's done. So before there was a gap, you know, some of the clips were not holding on properly, so it was loosening up. But now it's gonna be super nice and secure. So that was a little bit of a pain with this. So we do have the lip right here. Cannot wait to get this thing fit up. We do have the grill pieces, have the headlight trims, and then the brace or whatever that's called. And I do have some other parts. So not gonna get to all this stuff in this video, but I wanna show you guys, I picked up some awesome quad exhaust tips for the Challenger, as well as some rear diffuser fins. I'm gonna try these out. These are just some universal ones I got off of, I think, Amazon. So we're gonna see how well those look. But with the front bumper, we got an RGB SRT logo. So I am super excited. This is gonna be fit up on the top grill piece right there. You know, we can color match this SRT logo to the headlights. So I think this will be super, super cool. I think what we'll do next up is the grill pieces and then that front lip, and then we'll get this thing mounted to the Challenger. I do love the bumperless look. I think it's pretty fun. But I'm super excited to get the new Hellcat bumper fit up, and then we'll get the wide body flares temporarily set on. So we're not gonna attach all of the flares for good for right now, since, you know, we do still have to wrap it, but we'll get the front bumper on, get the flares temporarily fit up so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it's gonna look like, and so we can really see how this fitment's gonna look with our new wide body wheels. All right, so Jared got the front bumper totally finished up. So here's a quick little glimpse at what this thing looks like. It looks so good. And you know, it came together extremely well also. So with the exception right here, where these two pieces were not fitting up all the way, and that's even pushing the clips in as far as they could go. So running that thin layer of sealing caulk really tightened that up. As for the rest of it, you know, super, super high quality. Everything fit in perfectly. But yeah, this thing's all set. So let's go throw this thing on the car, mount it up, wire up the LED logo, and let's see how it looks. I'm super, super intrigued to see how this bumper is gonna look on the car. All right, you guys, so I'll show you a little update with the front bumper. So it did not go quite as expected. I should have measured all this beforehand. I did not, unfortunately. So as you can see, I got the original wheel back on here. You know, the bumper lines up pretty well with the exception of this top piece. So we're gonna really have to do some troubleshooting with this right here. You know, these factory rivets that came with the kit are absolute garbage. They don't hold that piece in. But even if they did, you know, we still got a pretty big gap right here. We're definitely gonna have to figure out something with this. You know, I don't know if it means messing around with the front bumper a little bit more, trying to get it to pull up a little bit, or if we have to make a little trim piece that will go in here. So that's definitely gonna take some figuring out. And you know, like I mentioned earlier, that's just kind of one of the risks, you know, running with these aftermarket kits. It's nothing too bad, honestly. You know, the sides do line up really well, so I'm super excited about that. So having that little gap right there over the hood is not the end of the world. We'll definitely get that sorted out. But the real issue is the fitment. I got this first wide body flare just temporarily taped on here, and you can see we have a pretty crazy amount of tuck. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is way more tuck than I was anticipating with these. And I did make the mistake. I got these with a 0 offset. The wide body ones are a negative 2.5 offset. So I should have gone a little bit more aggressive with the offset for these. You know, I definitely do not want to leave the wheels like this. You know, going through all this work, getting the wide body kit fit up, it really would be a shame to leave the fitment like that. So what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm gonna take these wheels and throw them on the Charger. I wanna show you guys how well this actually turned out with the Charger. So I got the first wide body flare just once again temporarily taped up to the Charger, but you can see with those wide body wheels, it's perfect with the all-wheel drive setup. This will show you guys the difference between the all-wheel drive fitments versus the rear-wheel drive fitments. And with this one, you know, same wheels, same thing, but since it is all-wheel drive, you can see it's almost flush. It even pokes a tiny bit. So the all-wheel drive really does push those wheels out a little bit further. And if we come over to the front, so I love that. I would definitely rather have a little bit of poke than a little bit of tuck. Now it's honestly just a matter of seeing if these will rub. You know, with the all-wheel drive, I'm not sure if these wheels will fit. So make sure you are subscribed. This will be coming in our next video. So today's all about the Challenger. So in our next video, we are going to work on getting the wide body fit up for this Charger. And that's where you guys will find out if this setup actually works. All right, you guys, so we just got the car pulled into the garage. We do still have to figure something out with this front gap, so we're gonna try to start troubleshooting with that, but we're also in the meantime going to start working on getting the flares and everything fit up. And I am going to be adding some wheel spacers. So we will not be leaving wheel spacers on this thing, but as you guys saw earlier, the original wheels that I got were not quite as an aggressive offset as we need, so that way this thing does not have any tuck. We'll be getting some new ones here for the Challenger soon. But just for the time being, I'm going to be running some wheel spacers. So that way, once we get the wide body all fit up, it's not gonna look super goofy and have, you know, an 1.5 to 2 inches of tuck. All right, so working on this first flare right here. So the kit comes with these 2 pieces for the flares. So this is what is supposed to get screwed into the body. So it'll go something like this, and then you put screws through that attach it to the fender, and then it has these little notches that you will clip in. So what we're just trying to do right now is figure out the best way to start fitting these up. Because I'm not entirely sure if we want to screw them in. I know that's kind of what everyone does, and that's probably the safest route to, you know, keep these flares on. But, you know, it does kind of hurt a little bit drilling screws into the body, but we definitely do not want these flares to be coming off. So yeah, we're gonna try to get this first one mounted up. All right, so we're starting up here with the front bumper. We got this little trim piece set up. I think what we might do with this is glue it and maybe do 1 screw down here. Our top priority is this Grand Canyon right here. Here.
Some ideas, since we got pretty good doing Bondo, we're gonna see if we can actually take this edge, and I'm trying to mimic what it would look like with the tape. So we're going to Bondo the front bumper. It extends out to about where the tape would go.
Yeah.
So this gives us an idea of what a suitable gap would look like. So if we could get it looking like that, where you don't see the top of this, it'll just flow nicely. I just pushed it down a little too hard. And the good news is that we have this on the back. Like, I'd be nervous doing Bondo because it would break and crack, but because we have this ledge,
yeah,
we have
that's
something
true.
that we can work on
we can
that
build
gives
up.
it some stability to build it up.
Yep,
exactly.
for sure. So I think that would be good. If we can mimic this gap from like there to there, if we could do that, then I think that would look super good. But now that we got this side pretty much good to go, you know, those lines look good, I think we can start fitting up the wide body flares over here. So this is what it looks like. Yep, oh good. Nope, you're close. There you go. Nice work. That's gonna look nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And the kit does come with aftermarket side markers because, you know, they're almost L-shaped. And then there's what it looks like with the flare. Wow. This is so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
So take a look at that. This is just a little idea for what this thing's gonna look like. It's going to look like a monster. It's gonna look insane.
Cool.
So
They really did a nice job on these to follow the body line right there, the little cutout dent. I'm impressed with what they did.
You already have those rivets? That's money.
So now what we're gonna work on is trying to make a trim piece right here, and I'm also going to be installing our rear diffuser fins. So with this wide body kit, it does use the factory rear bumper, and so these diffuser fins I got from eBay. You know, I've always been intrigued to see how these look, so this is my first time installing these. So it is kind of an experiment. If these do not look good, if they don't fit up too great, then we obviously won't go with them, but I think it'll look good, and it'll definitely add some aggression to the rear bumper because the front is going to look super aggressive. And then, you know, with the rear, I think it'll look super good to get those diffuser fins and then also get those quad exhaust tips. So the back will look great, the front will look great. I'm super, super excited for how this thing's turning out so far. All right, just got these diffuser fins finished and they look so much better. So this is just a cool, cheap little mod, you know, that I think really transforms the rear end of these cars. You know, these rear bumpers are pretty plain. There's not really a whole lot going on. So, you know, getting those diffuser fins, I think really adds a really cool element to it. And once again, I think it's gonna look insane with the new quad exhaust tips, the new spoiler, the roof spoiler, the wide body. You know, I think all of that is really going to come together and look awesome. All right, so this is the next day. We are about to take all these clamps off, see how they look. But yeah, I think this is gonna work super well. You know, that stuff dries rock hard. We did end up doing one screw down there on those. This piece glued down perfectly. So it's completely nice and snug. You know, this is not gonna be falling off. So got the hood all finished. All right, you guys, well, here you go. Here's a look at the full wide body kit. So once again, this is all temporary. Nothing outside for pretty much the front bumper is set up for good. So all of these flares will end up taken back off when we wrap the car. Wanted to get it out to kind of show you guys what it's gonna look like. We got the wheel spacers on there. Once again, these are temporary as well. Take a look at this front bumper line. This turned out insane. So you can see a little bit of the sheen difference. So Jared did a great job bondoing this thing. So as you guys saw, we just basically built up a layer to extend the front bumper out. This, we're still working on it as well. So it'll be sanded and buffed. We'll get a few more layers on this. Take a look at how much better that gap looks. You won't see any of those rivets, and it's just gonna be a nice equal line. Looks so much better than what it looked like before.
I am very, very, very happy with how this is turning out. I thought when we started it was going to be risky. Had no idea whether we could get a good bond to the bumper or get a good base layer in there. This is sturdy. Like what's underneath this is solid. Once it's the same color, same sheen, same everything, people won't even know that this little end cap is an additional layer.
Which is huge because this gap was giant. You know, as you guys saw, not only was the gap big, but you could see all of the rivets and all of that in there.
Yeah.
So we'll get this all smoothed down. We'll get it perfectly flush with the bumper. And then once we wrap over it, you won't even see that. So super happy with how that turned out. And here's a look at the SRT logo. My phone died, so I'm actually recording off of Jared's phone. So as soon as we get back home, I will show you guys the different customization with that, because it is just controllable through a Bluetooth app and it's super cool. So right now we just have it red with the headlights. So excited for how this thing's looking. You know, the new bumper, the wide body flares really does make it look like a brand new car. Yeah.
I love wide bodies.
It looks so good. And I love those diffuser fins. So let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of those. I think that was a super, super cool addition to this thing. And I think as soon as we get those quad exhaust tips on there that kind of poke out a little bit, it's really going to complete it. But it is crazy. This thing is looking absolutely wild. So our next video drop is going to be this Friday, and it is going to be the wide body install for the Charger. So we're gonna be getting the Hellcat bumpers mounted up to the Charger, getting the flares mounted up, and then after that, we'll be wrapping both of these cars. These things are about to look complete, exterior-wise at least. So we have a ton of exciting content. This really has made me more excited for the Challenger than I've ever been.
I love everything you did
good
with it. Those diffuser fins are so awesome.
Yeah. And so same thing, if you guys see these gaps, this is just mounted up with some tape just to get it to the gas station. So these gaps will be dialed in once we install it permanently, but this is just cool to give you guys kind of a rough idea of what this thing looks like. It is crazy to believe that this is a 2009. Oh, there's one right there. All right, you guys, so this is pretty much gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So you guys can go head on over to our website, atlanticbeachcustoms.com. Go get entered into the giveaway. Every purchase you make will get you entered in to win both of these cars. So every digital photo you buy will get you 1 entry into the Charger and 1 entry into the Challenger, and every $5 you spend in merch will get you 1 entry into both cars as well. And you guys, the digital photos for both of these cars will be going up from $3 to $4 after our next Charger video. So the photos are going to slowly increase up to $5 as these builds progress. So this is really your last week to get these photos while they're still at $3, because once again, once they're wrapped, they will go up to $4 and then $5 once they are all finished. So if you go head on over to our website, buy a photo for $3, you will get 1 entry in to win both of these cars. So you could win either of these cars for $3.